Joined by CSU Pueblo head women's golf coach Tammy Lim. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. So just tell me now your team just competed at regionals, sixth place finish. Just tell me how that went. Just recap it for me if you can.
Yeah, last year we played in the first ever regionals with this team and we finished eighth place. And this year the girls, were all on the same page of wanting to make it to nationals. And I believe that they could. And they gave it a good run. They had a good first round of one over as the team score. And they just try to maintain from there. It went down to the last day, unfortunately. They were tied with St. Mary's, Texas, which they are a very, very good team, ranked ninth, I believe, in the nation. And I mean, they just outplayed us. They played amazing, and the girls just kind of hung in there. They tried the best as they could. They left it all out there, and unfortunately, got beat out. But it was a huge positive for the program. I mean, we went from not having a chance last year for nationals to having a really good shot at it this year. And so I'm excited for next year because I think we have an even better shot of making it to nationals next year.
Can you tell me about your senior Kylie Severin, who led your team at region?
Yeah, so Kylie, I had the honor to coach her the last 2 years of her career at CSUP. She is a tough gal. Unfortunately, she deals with some back injuries here and there, but she fights through it all. I'm very proud of her. She fought really hard this tournament. There was a lot of pressure for sure going into the last day, and it just kind of unfortunately didn't go her way, but she fought hard till the end. And I'm very proud of the season that she's had.
So let's now talk about so your team won conference champions RMAC Championship. So tell me about that. And to play in Nevada.
Yes. Yeah, so last year we won it by
Mhm.
27 shots. And this year the girls had the same mindset. We were going to win RMAC so we can make it to regionals. And so unfortunately that was kind of the only way we were going to make it to regionals was to win RMAC. And so they went in there. It was a different kind of pressure though this year. Last year we were the underdogs. This year, we were supposed to play well. And so I was kind of nervous to see how they were going to handle that kind of pressure going into this year, and they handled it very well. They had a great first round. Second round, the wind kind of got to them, but they still had the lowest team score with I think Mesa and Regis, I believe. And then the third day was still windy, but they pulled it together because they knew that they wanted to make it to regionals, and they shot a 6 over round as a team in the brutal wind in Vegas, and they won it by 22 shots. I All of my girls played well, all five of them, and so that was huge for us as a team. But yeah, they handled the pressure really well, and they were all on the same page of wanting to go win it and make it to regionals.
What was that like? I see a player finished second and two that finished tied for third. So what was that like? To have your players play very well at conference championship.
Yeah, I mean, that was insane to watch as a coach. I mean, those 3 days, they always make my job very easy to do. I'm there to hand them snacks and tell them to drink water when it's hot, but they went out there, they fought hard. I mean, as a coach, as a coach, it's very, exciting to see these girls just all play well, and they're all finished really well in the tournament. So.
Yes. So back to back RMAC championships and going to regionals. So what do you think your team needs to do to get over that hump and make it to nationals hopefully next year?
I think it's just experience. These my I'm losing just one senior. My
Okay.
four girls on the team that traveled to regionals this year are all returning. And I had a sophomore, a freshman, and two juniors. So next year I'll have two seniors. And so, I mean, it's just we've gained the experience these past 2 years, and I think we got
Mhm.
out experienced a little by these more higher up teams. And so I think now we've got this under our belt, put them in the same position, put the same pressure on them, and I think they'll be able to handle it.
Nice. So two things. So I see your team, you host a home tournament in October and then one in March.
Yep.
Let's talk about the one in March. So just tell me about, A, playing golf in Colorado in March, because I know the weather can be pretty
Yeah.
iffy. And then B, just tell me, what's it like, hosting a home tournament, and then also your team finished first. So tell me about
Yeah.
that.
So we do host two tournaments a year. The one in the fall is absolutely beautiful. The weather is perfect. And then the one in March, unfortunately, is hit and miss.
Yeah.
You know, leading up to the tournament, it was gorgeous, sunny. It was like 60 degrees. It was perfect. And then, of course, our tournament came and it was supposed to be a chance of snow on the second day. So I had to change it to a 36 hole day for our tournament. It was cold. It wasn't great outside, but it was just cold. And the girls fought through the coldness, through kind of all of the different weather, but they're used to it. They killed it out there. They just crushed it. They shot, I believe, two over the first round, the first 18, and then they shot two under on the second 18. And that's the best school record team score at CSUP history. Shooting two
Nice.
under as a team is very tough. And I did it with a very young team. And they just fought hard and they played well. We won it by 10 shots. But, the girls grinded it out that day. Like I said, they make my job very easy. They fought hard. They're all really good golfers. They have a lot of talent.
Nice. Then you only have one senior on your roster. So
Yep.
first tell me about that. And then also for your roster, you only have players from either Colorado or, international, Northern Ireland, Sweden, Scotland. So tell me about that, just having, just Colorado and then international players. What's that like?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, the only because Josh Koshke was the head coach before me, and these are still technically his recruits. Lisa Ekberg from Sweden and Delphin Felice from Turkey were kind of a joint recruit decision with me and Josh. But I mean, Josh is a great recruiter. He brought in some really good gals, Freya Constable from Scotland, Kylie Severin from Colorado. He got Zoe Rodriguez, who's a Pueblo local, and Anju and Marielle, both from Denver as well. They're all really good recruits. But yeah, I think, you know, recruit locally. It was nice. Internationally, it's great. We have a golf course on campus, so the international girls do not have to rely on a car. So we kind of get a huge kind of, interest in us because of that. But yeah, I'm only losing one senior, so we'll still have a pretty strong team going into next year.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you might be a Division II school, but sounds like you have, great facilities and
Yep.
there. So that's great. So coach, you have a very interesting, story, throughout your college
Yeah.
career, but I wanted to get, just touch on, your beginning in the game. So Clovis, California you're from. Just tell me
Yep.
about growing up in California. I'm from Arizona, so,
Nice.
kind of know that. And I live in Connecticut, so kind of like yourself, going from a good weather to maybe not so great weather.
Yeah.
But tell me about growing up in California and, just how you got started playing golf.
Yeah, so growing up in California, I didn't really get into golf until I was about 12. So I danced competitively when I was like 3 years old to 12. I absolutely loved it. It was my life. Traveled on the weekends for dance, traveled everywhere, danced, nationally on a competitive level. And at 12 years old, I was like, well, I know a little bit about golf, dance, I'm not going to be a ballerina. And so I saw golf kind of as an opportunity to kind of, see myself going to college for, which I look back at it and I was insane to think that way, not really like playing golf competitively at the time. But I just picked up the clubs. I started working out at it every single day. I fell in love with it. I my first couple years as a junior golfer was a little rocky, and then I kind of turned a switch, and I started playing really well, and that's when I started like, okay, college might be in my cards for me. And so I just, the Central Valley is such a huge pull for golfers. I just remember going to golf tournaments and making friends that way. And it was such a great kind of place to grow up in, and it was a little golfing town. And so, yeah, that's just kind of how I got into golf. And so I just kind of went from there.
Any tournaments like junior or high school that you got to play in or they enjoyed playing in growing up?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the
Mhm.
biggest one that I remember winning was the Len Ross tournament. It's a 4-day tournament in Fresno area. And so it's 4 days. There was a cut. I remember missing the cut my first year doing it, and then trying to make it again the second year, and then winning it on my third year. And so it's kind of huge. It was one of those tournaments that everyone plays in, and just remember going to the last day. So those are kind of one of my biggest tournaments that I really enjoyed playing junior golf in.
Yes. So as I mentioned, you have an interesting story. You began your career at, New Mexico State on a golf scholarship. But
Yep.
you didn't end there. You were only there for 1 year. You redshirted, due
Yep.
to an injury. So, first tell me, what drew you to New Mexico State, and then just tell me about, your first year your only year there, I guess.
Yeah.
How difficult it was, dealing with an injury, not getting to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, so I did have such a crazy college career. And my first year was it was a learning curve for sure. I remember, I dealt with back injuries before, and then I never worked out before, like lifted weights or anything. And at a college level, that's something that's huge and important. I just remember doing the workouts, my shoulder popped, and from there, I was just never really like mentally or physically got back to being 100% healthy. And that
Mhm.
kind of messed me up a little bit. Mental health is kind of huge in sports nowadays, and it's starting getting the coverage that it needs. And so at New Mexico State, I kind of went down a bad hill, down a really bad path, really. And so it was kind of a bad situation for me. It was no hate on New Mexico State, the coach or the team or anything. It was just a bad situation for me, not the right time for me. But I loved Las Cruces. Las Cruces was great. They also have a golf course on campus. So that was huge. That was something that drew me to New Mexico State. But yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. It wasn't the right timing for me at all, which was kind of a blessing in disguise. And so, but yeah, it was a huge learning curve for me. I learned so much from that 1 year, and that's honestly helped me kind of become the coach I am today.
So then you transferred to Fresno City College. So
Mhm.
tell me about that, transferring, what that was like, and then also tell me
Yeah,
about 2019 state championship
yeah.
CCCAA. You finished third overall. So, what was that
Hmm.
like, to have success, because transferring can never, it's usually not easy to transfer.
Yeah. So I remember like the transfer portal was starting to come up when I started like when that first year in 2017. I had no clue. I had no idea. So I just went back home, played at a community college, their golf team. I was even on the verge of quitting golf at the time. I was like, you know what, I can just, focus on my school, focus on a career, and just stay away from golf because at that point I didn't hate it, but it wasn't just something I really enjoyed anymore. But I told myself, let's just try again. Let's just do it again. Had a great time, had a great golf coach, Danny Pacina. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but he was a great golf coach. He kind of helped me a lot, kind of get over that hump. And so, I mean, I had a great career there. I started to love golf again. I was closer to family too, which helped. And so that was a huge, better environment for me. And so, yeah, going into that state championship, I played that golf course before in junior tournaments. I won there before going into it. I remember winning it on a playoff. And so I was very comfortable on the golf course. It's a tough track. But like I said, I was very comfortable, and I went into the last day because I didn't have a great first day. I think I shot 76 or something, and then went into the last day just knowing that, okay, I know this golf course, and I believe I shot like one under that second day. And so, it was nice to kind of finish on a good note for sure.
Then you went to Missouri Western State University.
Yep.
where you graduated with a business degree. So
Yeah.
tell me about, finally, graduating there, but also you
Yeah.
had to deal with a season got canceled due to COVID. So just tell
Yeah.
me about your time at Missouri Western and then also dealing with, the canceled season.
Yeah, so yeah, and then again I transferred again. I didn't want my college career to be over. I was like, you know what, I like golf, but this time I'm going to take my time to really find the environment that I want and the coach that fits best for me. I was in between a California school and Missouri school, and I chose Missouri strictly on the fact that the coach and the team and the environment was perfect for me, even though the weather in Missouri was not the greatest for golf. But I fell in love with it. I loved Missouri Western. The coach is great, which is Greg Dillon. I played under him. He was actually the coach at CSU Pueblo for I think 4 or 5 years here until he transferred to Missouri Western to coach there. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I had an okay fall season. I wouldn't say I had the best. It definitely wasn't my potential at all. I struggled with golf kind of physically and mentally still. But then I remember getting back from our spring tournament. I had a good tournament in Florida and I was feeling good about my golf game. And I just remember we had an extra long spring break vacation. So, and that's all I thought it was. And then we went all back home and our season got canceled. And then so kind of in that weird transition, I unfortunately didn't go it back and finish my last year at Missouri Western physically. That was more of a decision based off of getting my career started and kind of getting my life started from there and finishing my degree online. And so kind of that's how it happened. And so yeah, but I love Missouri Western and it was a great time.
Nice. So you've also been an instructor working with, junior golfers. So
Mhm.
tell me about that and your passion for working with juniors.
Yeah, so I definitely, like I said before, kind of my rocky first years in college and going through my journey with my college career. I just want to help junior golfers start on the right foot with golf and kind of guide them. And I run a junior camp out at, well, I did with Desert Hawk, and now I'm at the Pueblo Country Club. I'm going to run some junior camps out there this summer, and I give individual lessons as well. I'm going to get going through the PGA program now as well. So I'm trying to get more in the golf business of things. But yeah, I absolutely love teaching. I just love being a part of the golf side of things and just helping people learn how to play golf because I think it's one of the greatest sports out there where you don't have to be good at it. You just have to have fun. And it's fun when you play good. So I just like being able to be there to help and teach others.
And finally, just tell me, what drew you to coaching and, how did you end up at CSU Pueblo and what was it like when you were hired, as the head coach?
Yeah. I came to Pueblo, Colorado way before I got the job. So after COVID, I moved to Pueblo, Colorado, started working at a golf course. I was bartending, I was giving golf lessons, and I was just doing so much. I was working from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., sometimes to 1 a.m. because of bartending shifts. I was just trying to make ends meet and still try to play golf on the side for some tournaments. And then after a couple years, doing all of that, there was assistant coaching job position at CCCAA Pueblo. And I was like, oh, that might be perfect. I might get a little taste because it was only part-time. And so I was like, okay, a part-time coaching job, and I can still kind of teach and give lessons on the side, and I can see if I like coaching. And so I thought this was a good opportunity for me to kind of, help others that might have struggled with what I struggled with in college. And guide them the correct way, and kind of do things that I wish I would have gotten or would have heard from somebody else that could have changed my life completely in a different direction. And so that was something that drew me to coaching was that. And so, yeah, that just kind of, it popped up. I just remember coaching, bartending still, giving golf lessons in the first year as an assistant coach. So it was a bit of a wild, crazy time last year, but I loved it. I fell in love with coaching. I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was super excited for that. But yeah, I was happy that I had the opportunity to kind of dip my feet into that.